You're watching Swanny's Cricket Show on Joe, together with Rubicon.
Yeah! Come on! Welcome to episode 7 of Swanny's Cricket Show here on Joe, together with Rubicon. I'm Nick Pratt. Who's this man?
Graeme Swann. Still no
it is.
smoke. The smoke machine's still broken. It's still in Glasgow.
Come on, let's
Never
get in the
mind.
studio. Just can't get the staff these days, mate. Can't get the staff. Right, let's sit down. And before we go any further, we have to talk about the women's Ashes one-dayer. Australia destroyed England, and you'll be happy because a spinner made all the headlines.
Well, Elise Perry, to be honest, she does everything. She plays football for Australia. She plays cricket for Australia. She used to be the opening bowler for Australia. Now she bowls spin for Australia. Is there anything this girl can't do? She's having an absolute flyer. So, yeah. I mean, Australia 3-0 up. Can you believe it? England, well, they're up against it, to say the least.
Right, in around 10 days' time, the Test matches happen.
Yeah.
And the women's Ashes, it's obviously the point system, so they've lost 3 of the one-dayers, but the Test is where a lot of people say the Ashes are won or lost.
Well, they're going to need to be won there for the England girls because they're 3-0 down. So how many points is that? Is that like 6 points down already? They need to pull that cat out of the bag, don't they? Because it's been a bad start. They're a good team, the England girls. Actually, Tammy Beaumont in the second ODI scored a brilliant 100. Tammy, that was class. If you're listening, if you're watching, brilliant 100. So she needs to come good. The rest of the England girls need to raise their game because they're better than they're showing at the moment.
Yeah. Speaking of the Ashes as well, your mate Jimmy Anderson's got a bit of an injury.
No, he's fine. He's fine.
Oh, is he?
I know Jimmy. But honestly, Jimmy doesn't get injured. He's like a machine. He's like Thor. He might be down for a bit, but he'll always come back by the end of the movie and win.
So you think the calf tear is almost mind games for the Aussies?
He hasn't got any calves. I've seen his legs, mate. He's all bone. He'll be fine. He's just... they'll be wrapping him up in cotton wool. If it was a bad injury, we'd all know about it. Because I think he holds the key for England. If the ball's swinging and Jimmy's fit, England win the Ashes. No questions whatsoever.
You're that confident?
No questions. He's that good, and the Aussies are that bad at playing swinging ball that he will win the Ashes. If the ball doesn't swing for whatever reason, or Jimmy doesn't play, it is a very, very even contest. In fact, without that, I'd say Australia probably favourites.
Wow, OK, that important. On to the World Cup. How are you feeling about the semi-finals then? Now,
Australia are not favourites for the World Cup, I'll tell you that much. There's one team who are favourites, so you know who they are. England!
Go on, England!
I honestly, now that England have rediscovered their balls, basically, because they lost them, they lost their cricket balls at the back of the bag, didn't they?
Yes, they did.
For a while. They've rediscovered them with the last 2 games and played incredible cricket. The win against New Zealand up north was just fantastic. Even though New Zealand are not as great a team as the start of the competition made people think they were, because they had weak opposition, they got destroyed up there, and it was a pressure game, and England came to the fore. So I can't see them losing to Australia in the semi, and I think they're going all the way.
Well, that was my next question. So you're confident against the Aussies then, even though England have already lost against Australia in this tournament?
Yeah, well, that England team that played Australia at Lord's, that was not the England team that I knew. That was a team without Jason Roy, without the sort of puffing the chest out, without the bravado, without the arrogance, dare I say it, of the team that had got to world number 1. They're 11 pussycats that day at Lord's. I was watching it thinking, there's no bite to them. This is the old England. This is the England I used to play in. The England since Jason Roy's return, Johnny Bairstow's got his teeth back. Has he?
Yeah.
They're batting well. They're fielding like diamonds as well. I think it'll be a completely different animal that takes on Australia this time around. And the fact that Nathan Lyon did a press conference and said, "Oh, mate, pressure's on England." I think no pressure on us. Pressure's on England. There's no pressure on us. I haven't even brought up the word pressure. What are you on about, pressure? Giving the game away a little bit, I think.
Right, we're going to talk more about the World Cup in a bit, but each week on the show we have a guest, and this week we have a bit of cricket royalty. He played 79 tests for England and won 2 Ashes series. It's only Allan Lamb on the show, come on! Good to see you, Allan. Take a seat. Now, first and foremost, I know how excited Swanny is to have you here because you really looked up to Allan.
It's my hero growing up, Lammy. Played for Northampton, where I grew up. I was the youngest when we played in the back garden, me and my brother, so he always got to be in Botham. And who did I get to pick? I had to be like the best batsman. I was Allan Lamb, little number 5 Lammy. And one day when I was younger, because Lammy knew my dad, and me and my brother were sat on the balcony at Northampton. We're like, wow, this is amazing. And Lammy walked past me and just said, "Hey, how's it, little Swanny?" Honestly, if anything could have made my day, Allan Lamb knew who I was. I was about 10.
Aww.
Lived off that for ages.
But I wanted to touch on the fact that your first love, it wasn't cricket, was it? You loved rugby growing up.
Yeah, rugby was... So I played both, but I mean, I preferred to play rugby at school.
Scrum half?
No, fly half centre. I mean, look at the state. You know, I used to be inside centre, so, you know, great passing because I just missed that, lacked the yardage to be a really quick player. But, no, I've always loved rugby. I mean, if you give me rugby now, I'd go watch rugby than cricket.
Really?
Oh, yes.
We live in Northampton still, you see. Go and watch the Mighty Saints.
There you go. James Haskell will be like, right, we've got to get him on the show. We've got to get him on House of Rugby. So when did the cricketing bug properly bite you then? Can you remember how old you were?
Well, it was always there because we were lucky we could play both sports and you know, rugby in the winter and then cricket in the summer. And I just think that I would say probably about 12, you know, I was sort of faring fairly well with the cricket. And that sort of just snowballed a little bit.
And that's when it took over.
Yeah.
Around 12 years old. Because you played for Western Province.
Yeah, I got into Western Province. I was still at school.
Yeah.
So I was 17 when we got into Western Province. And they had sort of fairly good players in those days, you know. So, yeah, I'm a young whippersnapper coming in. And I always had a little bit of chirp, so, you know.
Is that why you looked up to him, Swanny?
It's why he was such a good player of short pitch bowling, obviously, because he's not the biggest, Lammy. And if you've got a bit of chat in South Africa, you tend to get a few short ones. There's not many spinners in South Africa, put it that way.
No, there weren't too many. So I learned to play spin when we came here because we played on uncovered wickets. You remember the old uncovered wickets? So you had to... he was still in the backyard, probably bowling on those wet ones. But... no, so in the spin sort of came, yeah, but in South Africa it was just basically against the quick bowlers. You know, you had Proctor, Rice, Van der Bijl, all these guys. So it was... so when we came to play Test match cricket, you know, when we played sort of a provincial game in South Africa, it was like playing a Test match. Right. I mean, the guys were at each other, you know, there was no prisoners. So when I arrived here, I'd heard it all before, so we were just straight in.
When you first came over, was county cricket softer than provincial cricket?
A little bit, but it was much stronger then because we could have all the foreign players playing. So, okay, I mean, you had Joel Gone and Viv Richards down at Somerset and Gordon Greenwich, Barry Richards. Then they got then they got Old Marshall. So, you know, they had proper... The county cricket was serious. There wasn't, you know, any sort of overseas player. He was a star. Yeah. You didn't get a guy that was just... And then that all cleared out because of so much Test cricket and that. So.
I think it was definitely the golden period for county cricket, wasn't it? Like the 80s.
Yeah, definitely.
My favourite time of being a kid. It's why I love cricket so much. So my dad was a teacher and my mum was a teacher as well. And so as soon as me and my brother had a day off, it was like he'd drive us to the ground to Northampton, like get 20p or whatever to get in, give you a cricket bat, and you go and watch the game. You'd watch county cricket. So I'd watch Lammy. All I wanted to do was wear that little maroon cap. You'd have like David Capel, all right, Capes who you there, fiery, mad as a hatter, Capes.
Fiery.
Like Curtly Ambrose. I saw Gordon Greenwich get 250 once against Northampton, hitting Roger Harper over the main stand. I've never seen anyone do it since, apart from David Sales did it once, hit him twice in 2 balls. Things like that, as a kid, they really matter, and that's why Lammy was my hero, because he was this like diminutive guy, go out, the crowd would all get back to their seats because they'd been in the car park having a pie while Rob Bailey was batting, and Lammy would go out, and they'd be, right, Lammy's in, and then the fast bowlers would always bowl short, he'd be hooking and pulling. Brilliant cricket.
I can tell that he was obviously your hero growing up because that's just how excited you are talking about it.
We'd stop playing at the back to go and watch Lammy bat.
And also, I'm being told Curtly Ambrose is our guest next week.
Big Curtly.
Yeah.
At least he says a few words. Because when he played with me, I said, Curtly, I want you to bowl from that end. He said, no, man. I said, Curtly, what's your problem? I've asked you. He said, Ma, you tell me to bowl. You don't ask me because I don't like bowling, man. That was Curtly. Never said he used to have that like toothpick. He used to stand there with that. Nothing. But now you hear him speaking on the radio, the telly, and he goes to do after dinners now. Yeah. Wow, Curtly, what's that?
You can't let your bowling do the talking when you've hung your boots up, can you? That's the problem, yeah.
Well, let's turn our attention to England and you playing for England. What was it like the first time you met Beefy?
Well, I'd met Beefy playing for Somerset, so I got to sort of know Beefy and David Gowan, all those guys, because of county cricket. So it wasn't sort of going into the England side not knowing anyone. We knew them all through playing. So I had 4 years before. So Beefy, larger than life. I mean, he was... And he's still larger than life, I think, but he's slowing down a little bit. Shame the poor guy's just, I think, set a hip and a knee up. And
it's like Keith Richards, though, Beefy.
Yeah.
He'll go on forever.
Yeah.
Honestly, the two of them are thick as thieves as well.
And let me tell you, he says, I told you I shouldn't have been bloody playing cricket. I should have been a winemaker. I said, yeah, but you've only got to be a winemaker because you played cricket, you know. Oh, no. You know, he's... no, he was great. I mean, I've never played with a guy that had so much self-belief. And I think what happened, he had the opposition sort of feeding out of him because he would say something and then all of a sudden the opposition would... And Australia, I mean, he had them sort of so wound up. And I think, you know, if you have a look through his career, how many balls he got with long ups.
Yeah.
I mean, it's unbelievable. But this is because he had that sort of attitude, this, you know... he came across like that to people. So I just think, you know, he just backed himself. There was never, ever not a winner. You know, he was going to win or he was going to bowl well.
You know what I was saying about Jason Roy the other week?
Yeah.
Like, you'd never have...
Sir Jason.
If you look at the team from the outside, you'd never imagine Jason Roy would be so important.
No.
But the swagger and the... Like, he doesn't... Roy doesn't say a word, honestly. But just his imposing sort of presence and the way he plays, that's what Beefy had. That's why every kid growing up in the 80s... like wanted to be in both of them because he had something about him. He had an aura, he had a presence. And opposition, even in international cricket, they buy into that as well. They see him warming up, they go, oh, he's playing today. Yeah. They do anything for him to be injured. It's why like the best in the world just get better and better and better because they believe they are and therefore the opposition believe in Beefy. Wow.
Yeah, it was like Viv Richards. When he walked to the wicket, we used to take out 4 slips.
Yeah.
We used to have a gully short leg. Next minute, we've got a man on the hook and we've got 1 slip or 2 slips. And next minute, he nicks it straight to 3rd slip and it's gone. Because he had so much pressure, he came and he whipped one over mid-wicket or something like that. But we should have just bowled and had the same field setting for Viv Richards than we had anyone else. But because of his his physical power, he walks in like it's swinging his bat and looking at you. And then all of a sudden the bowlers sort of go, wow.
I love that. What would you say is the best moment of your career?
Probably beating the West Indies for the first time. We had nearly over 20 test matches against them. And they weren't a bad side. They had a few bowlers in those days. And I'll never forget, we were playing in Jamaica. And we managed to beat them. And that's the only time I've ever beaten the West Indies. And we got 100 in that and won it. So there were other times I got 100, but that didn't make any difference because we got wiped out in 3 days or 4 days. But it was great going to the West Indies because we had so much time off. You know, we could go down and our windsurfing would improve on the beach and everything. But those West Indies were awesome. They were quite a side. And I beg, you know, a lot of people said that Australian side with Matthew Hayden and Vaughan and McGrath and all those guys. Let me tell you, the West Indies would have blown them apart.
Really? Well, you've mentioned a few players. I mean, you know, talk us through facing Joel Garner.
Well, Joel was great. I used to say to Joel, what do you aim at when you're bowling a Yorker? Lammy, you don't want to know, man. I said, you aim at the top of the stumps? Where do you aim? Over? We're at my feet. No, Lammy, at your head, man, when I bowl to you. Thanks, Joel.
Because he was that tall. Your head was in the way of the right base of the
looked up at him. He was unbelievable.
What was Malcolm Marshall like to face? That's the one.
He was, if you take all the bowlers, he was the best, I think, out of them all. Because we had a lot of battles. I played probably right at the beginning of his career and nearly to the end of his career with him. Well, against him, and when he first started, the ball went all over the place. He was just wild and quick, and then just got better and better because he could swing it in, swing it away, and he had that brilliant bouncer because everyone thought that he didn't have the old boom. It was that old skinny bouncer, and that's why he hit so many people. So Malcolm Marshall to me was the best.
Well, the Ashes are closing in. We know this now. Lots of people are starting to get excited about that. But what is it actually like to win an Ashes?
Well, That's very important. I think winning in Australia makes a massive difference because you want to really put it up them. Because you walk down the street and the Aussies are, they walk past you, say, hey, Pommy, what are you doing here? You might as well go home, And the public abuse you. They really do, and they really get up your skin. And then you got the Aussies and the press against it. I remember we arrived in Australia once, and we arrived in Perth, and we got there, I think at about 11 in the evening. And we left, I promise you, about 2:30. They started getting our bats out and saying, have you got woodworm and all this stuff in the bat? And then look, where have your boots come from? Where have you playing last? All
just
that
being
stuff.
difficult
Just
on
being
purpose.
difficult. It kept us there, It was just, I wanted to hit one of them.
I wish you had. But the thing is, so Lamb was on the tour in 86, 87, which I think I've spoken about before. Me and my brother used to be half an hour highlights every night. And my dad would tape it for us, and we'd run downstairs in the morning before school and watch the highlights. And you won everything on that tour, didn't you?
Yeah, 86, 87 was...
There were 2 one-day tournaments and the Ashes. No one won the Ashes since then in Australia until we did it in 2010. So for that whole period of time, England were destroyed. And Lammy says then about the public, everyone, newsreaders are abusing you. It really happens. And that's why I say they're like the crowd in Rocky IV. As soon as you start beating them, the whole thing turned on its head and turned against the Australians.
They do, and you must have found that in 2010.
It was brilliant.
As soon as you started beating them, their home crowds, oh, God, what's happening here? So, that's where I think beating Australia in their backyard is brilliant. What you guys did in 2010 would have been...
You mentioned the public kind of giving players a hard time and stuff. One of your mates and teammates, Stuart Broad, gets a real tough time from the Australians.
For not walking, which is the most ironic thing I've ever heard. Australians giving someone else a problem for being a shit bloke because he didn't walk, which, ergo, makes your entire cricketing nation shit blokes. just letting you know. Apart from Adam Gilchrist, he's the only one who didn't walk.
Yeah. Well, how can they walk if they got a ball and chain on their foot? You just
there you go, boom.
Right, we've got to talk about you captaining the England side.
I've got a great record. I hope we're going to bring it up. Or
you can do what you want. We've got royalty on the show. It says Swanny's name above it, but not this week. It's Lammy's
Can we change it? Yeah. So I think you get past Lammy's.
No, I was sort of a deputy captain, as you would say, to Graham Gooch for all the 3 times I captained. So I have a 100% record. Played 3 and lost 3. So it was, 2 against the West Indies and 1 against Australia, which we probably shouldn't have lost because we bowled Australia out for about 180. We got bowled out for 190. No, sorry. We batted first, got 190, bowled Australia out for 170, and then we got bowled out for about 160 or something.
Not a great game of cricket.
But I must tell you, as captain, I got taken by Mr. Packard down to the Gold Coast for dinner, and I was spotted coming home with a blonde girl at 6:30 in the morning, which was absolute nonsense because I had my wife there. And this was a classic, and this was the headlines when we got bowled out the following day. And Mr. Packer doesn't drink, so I'll never forget. He ordered a bottle of Chateau Lafite 61, and
it's a good one,
and some Chateau Montrachet, absolutely beautiful. And David Gower was with me. He was on the other. He had got out, fiddled with one outside off stump as you normally do. And we were sort of told we're going on a 3-line whip, and we went down there, and David went. What happened, Packer got upset because I wasn't that hungry. I just wanted, this French restaurant had like 3 prawns, beautiful little small butterfly. He said, you can't get a bigger plate of prawn. I said, Kerry, please, I'm okay with this. And no, he got absolutely mad and got up and said, we're going. So no one even had a glass of wine. He doesn't drink, but he just put it. And Tony Gregg was with us. And everyone started going out. I looked at David. I said, we've got to taste. I've never tasted 61 Lafite. So we quickly had a quick swig of it. And off we went to follow Kerry. And then we went gambling with him. And he gave the wives, the girlfriend, Tanya Breyer was there. He was going out to Packer's son. And gave the girls like $1,000 and said, off you go. You're not gambling with us. So they had to clear off into the hotel somewhere. We carried on sitting down to play, and he said, are you all in? I said, no, Mr. Packer, I'm not a big gambler. I'm not going to play. He said, well, how we play is 7 boxes. Whatever we do, we'll split the money, okay? And I'll play my money. I'm back in, mister.
This sounds like the greatest night out. I know. The girls have been paid, giving money off you, Pop.
Oh, it was unbelievable. It went on. We were up over $1 million, let me tell you. And he said, let's stop because the rugby union, he loved the rugby league. And the other boys, like Gower and things, no, let's carry on. I'm saying, guys, it's 12 o'clock. I've got to get going here.
So you think $1 million divided by 7. This is good.
This is more, you know, what we were earning in those days. And let me tell you, in 10, 15 minutes, there was nothing.
No way.
We lost a lot.
No.
Lost the absolute lot.
Good old Gower.
And then we got bowled out for 160 the following day. I hit a long hop from old, what was the off-spinner there?
Tim May?
No, that mad one.
Peter
Matthews. Matthews. Caught backward, and then we had a real crumble and bowled headlines. Lamb seen coming out casino.
Most importantly, though, from that whole thing, how was the Chateau Lafite 81?
It was too quick. I've had better since then, so there you
That's
are.
important.
That's an extreme version of one of your Crictionary.
I know.
What's it called when you chance going out?
The gamble button.
Yeah, the gamble button,
G for
literally.
gamble.
You really did go for it. Right, you guys wait there because you are watching and listening to Swanny's Cricket Show on Joe together with Rubicon. Now, don't forget, you can watch and download some of our other shows, including TKO with Carl Frampton and House of Rugby with James Haskell. And this week, the Rugby Boys are joined by their own slice of sporting royalty, the one and only Michael Liner.
I'm in my element here. This is my sweet spot.
You know what? It was why I had to get someone on that he was like fanboy.
I've been so excited about Michael Liner
because he's got everything.
I can use my directory, my Rolodex of
and
facts.
that's, you got those guys who were great at the time,
Yeah.
who did their jobs, and we did ours, and it all worked so well.
Lewis is thinking, what the hell have I come
Does this
on?
resonate at all?
Yeah.
I mean, do you know any of the people?
Dad said that you were going to ask me questions. So,
I'm quite happy to sit. You're learning something this evening, which is
And I
very
was
good.
telling Lewis, don't worry about it, James will do all the talking.
I've got nothing to say this evening.
That's Michael Liner on this week's House of Rugby. This, however, is Swanny's Cricket Show. I'm Nick Bright, alongside Graeme Swann, of course, and former England batsman Allan Lamb. Royal come on. Come on. Right, each week on the show we do our Minute With segment presented by Rocket. Disgracefully,
No.
Rocket,
I promised him that we wouldn't have a dip at him. He's worked hard, right? Rocket's had a very hard. He does a minute a week, and this is what I said to the show. He's done 6 minutes work. He needs a holiday. That's what I'm saying. So wherever he's gone, we hope you're doing all right, Rocket. Come on, pray for Rocket.
Skegness is treating you well, Rocket. Right, we're going to have to do it ourselves. So, Swanny, you're going to take control.
I'll take over. Right, where's his quizzes? Where's his questions?
Where's the script?
Did he
There
leave
it
them?
is. There it is. No, we've got it.
So, Lammy, you know what we're doing. I'm gonna throw something out. First thing that pops in your head. Okay. I haven't got the microphone like Rocket, so I'm gonna have a fake one like this. Is someone on the clock?
Yes,
I've not even got an earpiece.
I've got one. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. Lammy, your time starts now. Cricket World Cup. Lords.
World Cup. Ashes.
Ian Botham.
Mad.
Joel Garner.
Tall.
Sledging.
Dennis Lilly.
Winning the Ashes.
David Gower.
Favourite meat.
Ribeye.
Best bowler ever.
Malcolm Marshall.
Best batsman ever.
Viv Richards.
Career highlight.
100 winning the test match against the West Indies.
Career low light.
Losing the Ashes.
Favourite film.
No, pass.
Favourite TV show.
Pass.
Favourite music.
10.
Eric Clapton.
Best animal.
8.
Best animal. My boxer dog.
Favourite car.
Morris Minor.
Favourite food.
Meat.
Favourite dessert.
Time over.
Right, very good.
What was I want to know the dessert though.
Favourite dessert.
I didn't. Dessert. Apple pie.
Apple pie. Right, now we've got a bit more time. Can we just ask the favourite film again? Because honestly, I was here as well on the spot. What would be your favourite film?
Oh my God, I probably would say.
No, it turns out that the minute was it wasn't the pressure of the minute.
Take a seat, come on.
The pressure of the minute.
I think Deliverance was unbelievable.
There you go. We'll just edit that in. Deliverance. And the favourite meat. How Lamb didn't come out, I'll never know.
No, we don't want lamb.
It's my favourite, by the way.
What, lamb?
Yeah.
Well,
That's a pig with
I
meat
get
sauce.
Swanny a nice little small baby lamb on the barbecue
There
for
we
you.
go.
Well, come on, make some noise for a minute with. We normally do it for Rocket. Minute with Swanny.
I tell you, now I've done it with the sweaty palms and everything. Rocket, you do deserve that holiday, mate. you order it, you phone at room service, you say hello. Is that the Waldorf? Yeah. Hello, can I have another round of Chateau Lafite 81?
Right, the semi-final stage of the World Cup is upon us. India are against New Zealand tomorrow. England, Australia on Thursday. So let's start with India, New Zealand. What are your thoughts on that game?
I cannot see India losing that game. However, New Zealand, I don't think they're a bad team, but they're not as good a team as people thought they were after the first 3 or 4 games of the World Cup. Martin Guptill, however, if he wakes up and turns up to this World Cup at any point, it's now or never. If he comes good, New Zealand can post a big score. If they play, the blueprint for beating India is what England did. Don't lose wickets in the first 10 and then smash their spinners.
Yeah.
You can score a lot. They're not a great chasing team apart from Virat Kohli. It's how you beat them. If New Zealand do that, they can pull off an absolute shock. But, I mean, it would be a massive shock.
It's funny, you touched on it a little bit earlier on, actually, when you said, like, in the kind of opening rounds of the World Cup, everyone was like, well, New Zealand, they're absolutely flying.
Yeah.
But it was, like you said, they had an easy start.
The easiest start any team could possibly have. And then it rained in their game against India as well. So the first test, they got a point out of it anyway. So they were flying at the top of the league. But they'd played, some teams who we've all seen are pretty pants since.
Yeah. Three straight defeats as well.
They were my underdogs, really, because they're not a bad side on paper, but I wouldn't put them in the category of India or England and that. But they were there to upset. And the big thing now, they've lost, 3 or 4 on the trot. And as you say, if their players come back onto form, they could shock England. So, anything can happen. We saw what happened with South Africa. I mean, I didn't
Wasn't that great, though? Watching South Africa beat Australia.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the
always
Yarkies. I mean, we have most of them playing for England, so, I've got to like them. I played for South Africa B team for a long time. But watching them turn over Australia yesterday, Faf du Plessis.
What have you made of Rohit Sharma? Do you think he's in the running for player of the tournament?
Wow.
I'll tell you what, the thing about Rohit Sharma, I've always liked Rohit. He's always been a good player, but I've never really looked out for him that much. This year, in the TMS sweepstake for most runs in the tournament, I pulled out Rohit Sharma. I have never watched more of his innings. I am screaming for him every ball. No one has applauded his 600s more than I have, whatever. Come on, Rohit, mate!
He's 9 runs ahead of David Warner.
Yeah, and when Warner gets bumped out by Jofra Archer.
And how many runs is he off Tendulkar's? Only about 30. Yeah, so
his record. That's incredible.
But
really.
I mean, he looks class. Oh my goodness! I mean, some of those shots on the offside and that. I mean, they just there for.
Yeah, and he didn't have a great IPL coming into this either. He did all right, but people were thinking, is he still the player?
But is he that type of 20 over player? Because let me tell you, for 50 overs, he's so suited. He is just. He looks a different class to some of them.
So that could be the key to New Zealand. Get Sharma out somehow. Trent Bolt, if it's swinging, coming back in, you can get anyone in the world out if you're a pace bowler and swinging it in. So if Trent Bolt gets it in the right place, the left arm was bowling at good players in World Cup big games. Bring that up in a minute.
No, don't. Let's carry on.
We're talking about Sharma there as one of India's danger men with the bat. Their danger man with the ball, Bumrah.
Great.
He's been sensational, isn't he?
He's brilliant.
I just can't believe how he's got that staggered sort of run up, and you think, oh my goodness, what's going to happen?
And he moves both hands, doesn't he?
Honestly, he looks like he's bowling with some sort of brace contraption on. Everything. Like Forrest Gump, he's in the leg brace.
Jim Connor, man.
But he's rapid. I mean, he's genuinely quick. I mean, you played India in a time where they didn't really have quick bowling, did they? And when I played, it was always like just medium or a little bit quicker. He's genuinely fast, this bloke. So,
but I mean, the block howlers, he seems to get it right in there. And as a bowler, everyone, you speak to people for a batter. I mean, if a guy goes you, Yorker, you're gone. You're not going to hit it. Yeah. And this guy seems to get it in there every time because he's got that extra yard, and I think that makes the big difference.
Who do you two think's going to win that semi-final?
India.
India, definitely.
Both very confident about India. Right, second semi-final, of course, then. Australia against England. Swanny, I'm guessing you're pretty confident for England on this one.
I was actually, when South Africa beat them the other day, I didn't know whether I wanted England to play India or Australia or not, really. But I found myself, when South Africa weren't, thinking, get in there.
Right.
Whether I just can't wait for the England-Australia game again, or whether it's because I prefer them to play in the semi-final, I don't know. But I'm very confident that England, now they've found their feet again, now they've got a bit of chutzpah about them, will destroy them. I think they'll beat them and beat them well.
I don't want to be, I don't even want to think about England losing.
I've got a great stat for you then on that point.
Go on.
No team has ever, in a World Cup with a group stage, then knockouts, has ever lost their last group stage game and gone on to win the World Cup.
OK, so Australia having lost against South Africa.
That's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm not trying to jinx them or whatever. I'm not trying to say that history counts. But history counts.
But Lords, I think we got it totally wrong. We bowled absolutely.
They're pussycats.
And I don't know why we played an extra spinner. I mean, the wicket was... They should have been 30 for 4. We didn't put the ball in the right place. It was too full or it was too short.
Yeah.
And they drove us and pulled us or cut us. And I think it was the two games, right, the one where they lost against West Indies, against Pakistan... They saw West Indies bombarded. We had played Pakistan 4 times in a row, and we knew how to bowl to them. Why did we go and try blast them out the water?
Yeah.
Because
Wasim for coach.
Wasim
Allan Lamb for
but Wasim went and gave them an absolute bollocking and said, guys, England are going to bomb you. And Mickey Arthur knew it. They said, hey, get on the back foot, they're going to bomb you. And what happened? They did the exact same thing. So, to me, there were 2 games they lost, and I think basically tactical errors against Pakistan and selection against Australia.
So, OK then, as 2 very experienced cricketers who have been in the England setup and know what it's like, if you 2 were on the coaching setup for this game, what would you do? I just want to know if you agree or disagree, you do things differently or the same?
If I was the England side, I'd say, Jason, you go out there with that swagger, you destroy this Australian bowler. I said, the rest of you, do whatever Jason does. Because 2 years ago, Australia came over here with virtually the same team they're going to play in this series. In a one-day series, England humiliated them, absolutely destroyed them. This was sort of in the middle of the rise to world number 1. This is when they were scoring 480 at Trent Bridge. This is when they were getting 400 at Edgbaston. This is when Hales, Roy, Besso were all smashing it everywhere. That was the first time I'd watched an Australian team and thought they actually know what it's like to be an England team in Australia. They're not just turning up and losing. They know they've lost from ball 1.
Yeah.
They know there's very little chance of them winning. So I'd say to the England team, watch those videos. Watch everything you did there. Watch their body language. Watch their body language after the South African game the other day when they were absolutely broken. They don't want to play you. They know that you're going to destroy them. So go out and do it. Exactly that.
It's a different kettle of fish with Mitchell Starc, though. I mean, you faced
one player.
You faced the Mitchell Starc delivery. I think it was last week.
But I tell you what, I faced Mitchell Starc in the ground as well. If Mitchell Starc's bowling like he does in there, then England have no chance. Don't even take your cricket bats with you. Just go and sit in the Mount Stand pub.
But I think with England, they must. What they've done now, as you said, they've come back into it. Right? They were nearly dead and buried, and they pulled themselves out. Roy's made a big difference. But what they've got to do is they've got to take this game when they play Australia, and they've got to play like they normally play. Don't change anything. Look at them. As you say, Mitchell Starc is going to be those 4 overs, 5 overs at the beginning. If it's a bit humid, I don't know what this weather's going to do. Because if he does swing it, he'll be dangerous.
Did you see him against South Africa, Starc?
No, I didn't see.
So, a massive thing I do.
But someone says he got a little injury or something.
Yeah, he was limping. But something I'm a massive believer on is if another team plays your opposition and beat them, do it in a way, look at what they did. How did they go about it? That's your blueprint for beating them. Mitchell Starc, when England played him at Lords, because that was such a bowler's day, and as Lammy said, England bowled terribly. Yeah. And even afterwards, we were a bit unlucky. They weren't. They put the ball in the wrong place. Mitchell Starc bowled full and quick. He bowled full and quick.
That's the quickest. I mean, I was sitting with Alan Borden, we were side on, right? And the keeper was taking the ball and he was well back.
But he did the same thing at Old Trafford yesterday. He bowled quick and he bowled full. South Africans like quick bowling. Markham and Quentin de Kock at the start destroyed the Australian bowlers. All they did, it was slightly wide, hit straight through the line, it was full, drove them. That's how you play them. You don't treat them. You don't give them the respect that their wickets taken in the World Cup or their their aura deserves.
Yeah.
You just play the ball coming down at you, and that's what they did. South Africa was 70 off 10 overs, just doing nothing different than England need to do against them.
And also, we're like Sri Lanka. I mean, that was ridiculous. They tried to get... With that game, they should have changed their tactics because...
That never happened, Sri Lanka.
Just move on. We forgot about that one.
That never happened.
Don't even want to talk about that game.
Play like they normally play and be confident and go and enjoy it. And
Well, I'm guessing you're both backing an England win.
Yep.
But do you think it will be a close-fought game, or do you think...
No, I don't. I think they'll destroy them. I think they'll play properly and they'll destroy them.
If we bat first and we post a big score, gone.
All right, there you go. You heard it, and that makes a final of India against England. Right, we need to get out to the Backfast arena. Come on, let's go. Let's get out to the Backfast arena. Come on, let's go.
Lammy, I'm sorry, that's what we're going to do here.
Right, Jason from Backfast.
Hello.
We're back again. What are we facing this week?
Allan Lamb is here, so I think we should cast our minds back. 1992 World Cup final. Wasim Akram.
I'm against this completely, by the way. I think this is cruel.
You've got your shoes on.
Not just because I had to face it last time. I nearly broke my foot. I just,
But you've got shoes on. You've not got your flip-flops this week.
He's got shoes on, and hopefully you can right your wrong because you were totally skittled on the first
Everyone
week.
gets totally skittled by Wasim Akram.
Not a big backlift. Don't give it this one, Swanny.
Lammy, what was it like that day?
92 final.
Well, I mean, it was just one of those deliveries where everything was going perfect. And all of a sudden, Imran gave the ball to Wasim, who didn't. We faced him earlier, and nothing had happened. It was straight as a die. He came round the wicket, over the wicket, and bowled this delivery. And it was too good for me. But, that was one delivery that changed the whole game. Then the next one, he bowled that massive in-swinging delivery to Chris Lewis. Game over.
But on that day, Lammy did not know it was coming that day. Today, he knows it's on the way.
I think you're going to show everyone what you can actually do. Right, let's do this. Come on. Right, so Swanny's at the crease. Here we go.
Come on, Waz.
Here we go.
That might be out. That's a straight on the toe.
Did it hit you on the toe?
I think that's out.
Yeah, I'm walking for that.
I thought it was bat on ball.
No, that's LB.
That's LB.
Just going down. Oh, look at him. I'll have another go.
I think that is out.
That's stone dead.
You're out on the toe.
As a batsman, you know if you're out or not.
Watch out. Here we go. Right, here it comes. Oh! He's gone again. He's gone again.
I won't lie to you. I'll try to give myself a bit of room for that
I
one.
saw that one. He was trying to hit it over extra cover again.
Lammy, you'll go.
Right, here we go. Here it comes, Lammy. This is it. Oh, middle stump is gone. Middle stump. He's done you again. It's bringing it all back. Unbelievable.
Oh, God, what's going on here?
Let's get them bells back.
But maybe just clip the bells.
Maybe just, yeah. In fact, World Cup-wise, that wouldn't have knocked the bells off in this World Cup. So.
Right, here we go again. See if you can redeem yourself, Lammy. Here it comes. Oh, he's gone again! He's gone again. It's a little skimmer off the top of the bells this time. Still took him off.
Too good.
I know.
Did it remind you of the actual game, or...?
Well, yeah, because that I didn't even see it. So, I mean, on that day, it was just one that was just angled.
He was round the wicket, wasn't
and
he?
I gave it the same thing. What happened
Caught
now?
behind or bowled?
No,
top of off, wouldn't it?
Just
the top of off.
Like that last delivery.
Yeah.
Exactly the same I go there.
Right, let's get in here and do some Crictionary.
In fact, I would actually pick Batfast to open the bowling for England.
We're diving into Rubicon's Urban Crictionary, a celebration of the weird and wonderful terminology used in the world of cricket. Now, each week we give Swanny some cricketing terminology and he's got to come up with a story to match. Now, I've got some words in front of me. The first one I've got is flat one.
OK, flat one. It's a beamer, basically.
OK.
On a flat one. Best story I've got that in Brisbane. Do you remember Michael Clarke going up to Jimmy Anderson going, "I'll get ready for a broken arm, mate"? After that game, someone sat in there and we said, "What a twat Michael Clarke is." Someone, "Jimmy, you can't exactly bump him out, can you, at your pace?" We went, "Oh, just ball the twat, a flat one." Which
I love your Jimmy impression. Yeah. It's great.
He said it without a smile, obviously.
Let's do pies next.
Pies. Well, pies are basically any bowler who's rubbish, who's bowling filth. I remember sitting in the change room once, actually not in the change room, watching a game and saying, Alan Donald's bowling pies today. Nasser Hussain was right behind me. He was next in to bat. He went mad at me. He goes, "You shut up! Shut up! Believe me saying that. You're gonna, the cricketing gods will listen to you." Got a wicket next ball and then got Nasser out before lunch. So,
no.
Yeah, but basically anyone who's bowling filth, is bowling pies. Help yourself.
What about chokers?
Chokers, well, South Africa in the World Cup, isn't it? You know, in every World Cup, they seem to do it, get in the semi-final. Not in this one, though, because I didn't even get in the semi-finals.
Hopefully,
choked too early.
Yeah, choked too early.
Hopefully we won't be chokers. Bakerloo.
Bakerloo, very simple, playing down the wrong line, all to do with the London Underground, whatever. Basically, every time I bat on the bat fast machine, I play down the Bakerloo. And it's actually on a Piccadilly line, whatever.
And you say, well, you know, that pitched off and just hit middle. Meanwhile, it was the Bakerloo. Pitch middle, hit middle, yeah.
It's actually, I always enjoy it in the change room, you know, when people get out, when true batsmen get out and they walk out and they go, what a ball. Mate, unplayable. Wouldn't have got anyone out of that. It's normally all-rounders, all bowlers when they get out. So was that a good ball? Nah. That's straight. I'll follow it. I'm just rubbish. I love it.
Lammy, but before we wrap it up, I've got to ask you, can you remember your favourite sledge ever, the best you've ever heard that you won't get sued for saying or we won't get sued for saying?
No, it was probably Dennis Lilly. You know, I've been playing and missing like that. And he came up to me and said, "Hey, mate, do me a favour." And just before he went like this with his forehead, and he flicked over and hit me straight in the face. I could taste the rum and ginger he had had the night before. And he said, not in quite these words, a little bit heavy, he said, "Mate, do me a favour, hold the bat still and I'll aim at the effing thing." and there's nothing else you can say, you know, there's absolutely nothing, you know. And then you had Rodney Marsh standing at the back of the stage. He turned around, he said, "Have you got any family, mate?" And you turn around and you say, "What are you asking me?" And then you look up and there's Dennis about to kick off from the side screen, you know, just to get you going a little bit.
Have you got any family, mate?
That's
I
wonderful.
can't believe I've never heard that before. That is a brilliant line, isn't it?
That is wonderful.
Just trying to walk past and, "Mate, have you made a will?"
Right, that is it for this week. Thank you to Allan Lamb, of course. Enjoy the semi-finals and don't forget House of Rugby and TKO. See you in 7 days' time with the legend that is Curtly Ambrose. Thank you very much. Come on.
Good luck, boys.
You've been watching Swanny's Cricket Show on Joe, together with Rubicon.